So I've finally had a conversation, a one-on-one with myself, if you will, about my book buying habits. And I realized that it's not a habit. This is a lifestyle, and you can just expect large book hauls from now on. Hey everyone, welcome back to Andrew's Wizard of the Reads, and as always guys, I'm Andrew. Today I've got my February 2023 book haul. But before we get into that, make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And check the description box down below for the link to the Wizardly Duo Discord, as well as links to all my social media, including information about my Patreon. And that out of the way, February was a month, and in that month, I bought books, and in that month, I also received books. And yeah, we've got a lot to talk about. I've got some kind of non-bookish stuff that I got some review copies, got a couple gifts, and I got a stack of books that I bought myself. And I've also got some digital copies, which is where we are going to start. Now, I don't quite remember everything that I bought digitally. It wasn't a whole lot, but I just bought them all at once because the sales just hit. So, this one's been going around. My buddy Patrick's been talking about this, and I saw that he got the Kickstarter edition of this, which is why I wanted to try the ebook, because I know with certain Kickstarters, if you miss the first book, you can just back it for all the previous copies. I'm like, okay, so I've been hearing good things about this, so if I like the first one, then I'll just back it all and get all these gorgeous editions. So this is Patrick's fault. I got Mother of Learning Arc 1, and this is by Nobody 103. And then I can't pronounce the name. I'm going to try. It's Dominage or Domagot? No, I can't do it. I can't pronounce that. So we're going to say this is by Nobody 103. And then there was two authors who had book drops. And to celebrate those book drops, they decided to make pretty much their entire catalog free. And the first one is Andy Peliquin. And Andy Peliquin does Darkblade Assassin. And I believe I got books 2 through 5. So I got, in order, for book 2, I got Protector, which is Darkblade book number 2. I got Slayer, number 3. I got Savior, number 4. And I got Deceiver for number 5. I got all of those for free on ebook, because I believe book 6 is getting released. And then the next author is Clayton Schneider. I discovered Clayton through Michael R. Fletcher. They're buddies, and they did Noraleska Groans, which I've got up there. I haven't read it yet, but I was like, you know what? If his entire catalog is free, you can bet I'm going to pick that up. So I picked up River of Thieves. This is Thieves Lyric Book 1. I then picked up Blackthorn, which I believe he also co-wrote with Michael R. Fletcher, but I could be wrong on that. Maybe it was edited by him. I don't know. Correct me on that if I'm incorrect. I got Demons, Inc. I got The Obsidian Psalm. And I got Cold West and Thieves War, which is Thieves Lyric Book number Dose. And those are my digital orders. So with those out of the way, we can now start talking about... Oh, do I want to do gifts, review copies? Let's do non-bookish stuff first, because this is kind of cool. Now, I kind of talked about this earlier, and I don't know if I talked about it with you guys or with my patrons. I talked about it with somebody. My Kindle broke. The screen went bad, and so I was getting ready to buy a new Kindle, and I was complaining about it somewhere. And somebody was like, hey, I've got a spare Kindle. And so they went ahead and they were like, hey, for $50 you can get this Kindle. And I was like, cool. It came with this cover. I thought that was really great. The Kindle's in fantastic shape. But additionally, he also sent another cover. And then this one. This one's really cool. It's this leather worked red dragon Kindle cover that snaps in. It's got the Kindle holders right there. I think this is really cool. So thank you for that. Real lifesaver. Kindle is almost essential for me at this point for nighttime reading, so I really appreciate you coming through for me in a pinch. I also got this handy dandy hat, which this is a pillar from the Ashes of Avern by Tiago Abdallah. I reached out to Tiago to get this hat. I love this hat. I didn't know I would like this style of hat. I've never had this style of hat. It's kind of just, it kind of sits, it's got a wide brim, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm feeling it. It's so good. And then I did a book review for Jenny Wirtz, and she was just like, hey, do you want some artwork as a thank you? And I was like, yeah, sure. And the one I went with was Anne Sciere, the Storm Warden, and she sent me this very beautiful proof, and you can see my recording setup and everything like that in the reflection. But it's absolutely stunning. I'm going to go ahead and link in the description box down below her and Dawn Matz's art shop. You can buy these prints from her. Like, Jenny Wirtz is one of my new favorite people. She's so cool. Her and Palmer Pickering are two of the most interesting people I've ever had the pleasure of even seeing or hearing about. I don't know. Anyway, she also sent me this, and she said I'm the first person to ever get this piece of art. And this is a piece of art that actually inspired this piece of art. And this hangs up on my wall right there. I see it all day, every day. I'm in love with it. This is actually the cover of... I'm just going to keep showing it to you. I don't know why I keep putting it down. But I'm going to keep showing it to you because it's gorgeous. Thank you so much, Jenny. But this is the cover of my... I'll finish this sentence eventually. This is the cover of the collection of the Cycle of Fire that I have. And please, if you haven't read Cycle of Fire, do yourself a favor and get it, because it's so good. It's nautical fantasy, it's sci-fi, and it's fantasy. So good. Anyway, Cycle of Fire plug out of the way. We're going to talk about some further gifts. And my good friend, JCM Byrne, who is just an absolutely delightful human being. He was just like, hey, you've reviewed all 3 of my books. Do you want hardcover copies that I will sign and personalize to you? I had made a joke to him probably when we first started talking. And I was like, hey, do you have hardcovers that I could get that are like signed? He's like, I don't really have that set up. And so he was like, he reached out to me. He's like, yeah, you know that thing you talked about? Yeah, I finally got that set up. Would you like some? And he was kind enough to gift me all 3 of his books, which is Blood Reunion, book number 3, Return of the Griffin, signed and personalized. Gorgeous copy right there. JCM Byrne, my boy Rowan, and the always amazing Wistful Ascending, the OG, and of course, signed and personalized. Thank you so much, JCM. I now own these on paperback and hardcover, and that is a good thing because it is such a good series. I've read all 3 of those. And then, speaking of Palmer Pickering, I've actually got 3 books that she sent to me in the month of February. And so I had mentioned that the UK A Song of Ice and Fire Storm of Swords was just out of print at the moment. Like, I just couldn't track down a copy anywhere. And if I was, it was $70. And I thought that was incredibly frustrating. And so she was just like, hey, I happen to find this copy. Do you mind if I send it to you? I said, absolutely, you can send it to me. And she was kind enough to send me this gorgeous Storm of Swords. This is the illustrated UK hardcover copy. Absolutely love this. I am going to be reading from this in the month of March, which is where you're seeing this video. So yes, by the time you're seeing this, I've probably already started and or completed this book. But I am so happy to have this matching copy for my collection. Thank you so much. She also said, hey, I've got a duplicate copy of M.A. Carrick's Mask of Mirrors. And I know my good friend and booktube big sister, Leslie the Nerdy Narrative, loves this book. And I was like, you know what? If it's a spare copy and you're just looking to get rid of it, of course I am willing to give this a try. I've heard this is kind of like Venetian style fantasy, so thank you so much for this. And then I forget how it came up in conversation, but she was like, hey, I really liked this book. If you like these kind of elements, go ahead and add it to your wish list and I'll get you the first book. And that is Leviathan, and this is like a YA steampunky adventure. Apparently it's illustrated. This is illustrated. Ooh, I'm in trouble. I'm gonna have to read this now. I'm gonna have to read this sooner than I intended to. I just saw illustrated by Keith Thompson. And some really cool illustrations in here too. Very big prose. But this is Leviathan by Scott Westerfeld. This is a trilogy. I've only got the first book so far, but this is Leviathan. It's so cool. It's the hardcover. Thank you so much, Palmer. You are too good to me. And then I also received, speaking of Tiago Abdallah, Ashes of Averin, he sent me a hardcover edition of The Shade of a shade of madness. I can't speak this evening. This is book 2. I've already read this. I love this book. This book really levels up. And yeah, Tiago's going places. He's doing something special with Ashes of Avern. Please check it out. And then another one that was gifted to me and dedicated to me by the author is The Tale of the Bored Knight by A.R. Witham, author of The Legend of Black Jack. It's signed and dedicated. It says, for Andrew, who lights fires. And then he put a little arrow and says, see, it is dedicated to you. So thank you so much, AR. I love Keymark so much, and I can't wait to see what you do in the future. So thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and put those right there. Next, we're going to move on to review copies. And this one was kindly sent to me by the author. And this is The Assassin of Grins and Secrets by K.E. Andrews. She sent me like an envelope and then the book through Amazon. Apparently that was the only way she gave me the book, but in the envelope she sent me a signed book plate. So now I've got this gorgeous book with a very nice book plate signed to the wizard. Thank you so much. This book is absolutely gorgeous. Tori from Tori Talks has really put this one on my radar for like the last 2 weeks. We were just talking and she was just like, I'm reading this one. And it's like, you know what? I want to read that. And so thank you so much for this. I can't wait to get to it. And then this is an author that I already had a copy of the first book, but he saw that I was having a rough month. And he was like, hey, thank you for like promoting the book just in book hauls and talking about it. Would you like a review copy of book 2? And he was like, yeah, sure. So he sent me Godfrey Under Siege with a lovely, lovely note. I keep all notes that you guys send me in the books so that I'm constantly reminded of the note. I love handwritten notes from you. It just means the world to me. But this is Godfrey Under Siege by Mark Howard. This is book 2, and what's the series name? Oh no, The Griffin Legends. There we go. And this is kind of like an Arthurian style tale. I already had book 1, and then he was like, you know what? I saw you were having a bad day. And this is when I had recently heard the news about my mother-in-law. He's like, here, have a copy of the first book, Godfrey's Crusade, also signed with a nice letter and these cool decals that I believe he now has a store for. I think they're available for sale on his website, but if it is, I will link it in the description box down below. Thank you so much, Mark. These are fantastic. Mark is a very cool individual. And then another one that I kind of agreed to accept for review, and I'm currently closed for reviews after this month, or unless we've already spoken and stuff like that, because I've got so many review copies now that I've got to plow through. And that is Bringer of Light by Frank W. Janus. It's got this kind of stopwatch with a raven on it. There's like 3 different timelines weaving things together, and then there's like a through line. But what I thought was cool about it was I didn't know what a scientific romance was, and apparently that's like the Jules Verne era of like science fiction was called scientific romance. And this is kind of in that style. You can correct me if I'm wrong. That's my current understanding of it as what I looked into. This one just looked really cool. Do you see the glory? And yeah, I mean, it's got like a British reporter in like Civil War America. We've got 1930s Germany. We've got the Silicon Valley. And then it all kind of weaves itself together into like a really cool, cohesive story. So we've got that one right there. Next up, we have got Michael R. Skolthesis. Oh, the Roosevelt Saga. I'm trying not... These are big, beefy books. Here's the spines. I know you want the covers, but you can only have the spines. No, I'm just kidding. He sent me all 3 of his books. This looks like a Middle Eastern or a Prince of Persia and styled kind of setting. But we've got The Altar of Fate, The Spiral of My Destiny, and The Third Way of My God. And I think I've said the first title wrong. Yeah, because it's The Altar of My Fate, not The Altar of Fate. But 1, 2 or 3? I don't know. 2 and 3. There we go. Boom chicka-ba. All right, we've got those right there. Very cool. Let me read the back of the first one. Where are you? I've got everything all jumbled up. Don't judge me. Roosevelt Lust for the warrior's path, the spoils of victory, and the ancient power that could help him lead his tribe to greatness. Denied the right to inherit his father's chieftaincy by his iron-fisted grandfather, Roosevelt knows he must forsake the steppe lands of his home and travel across the great desert to the fabled lands of the South. A world of palaces and pleasure gardens, living gods and beautiful women, and the slave girls he needs to reward his warband. His journey leads him to a warrior mystic and a slave girl who could help him master a dangerous spirit at an ancient altar, an artifact of the vanished Shaper race. But crossing the desert may be easier than escaping his grandfather, who is sending an army and his champion to master the spirit and claim the faithful power of the ancient Shaper altar. So that is these 3 gorgeous books. Thank you so much. Up next, we've got book 3 of The Grim Hunt, Winter of Contempt by Ryan G. Beatty. I've read book 1, Crown of Madness. I now need to read book 2, which is Binding of Souls, and then Winter of Contempt. Again, blue and black covers. We've got this like wispy blue coming out of like this Roman, I'm assuming it's Roman style helmet, but yeah, so cool. And then the final review copy that I've got to talk about before we get into my obnoxious purchases is The Fear of Moncroy by Brian Asher. This is kind of a vampire style tale. All the Waywards have fallen. And this is a standalone told in, I think, 250 pages is how it was sold to me. After a mission against the Royal Vampiric Court goes horribly wrong, all of the Waywards are slaughtered. All except one. Davian, the last surviving member, must consume potions to mask himself and hide amongst the very people who killed his brethren. That just sounds really, really cool. And a fantastic cover. Alright, so those are the review copies. Now let's talk about the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books that I purchased myself this month. Now I've been hearing since I joined BookTube and I did a fantasy video like a couple years ago about urban fantasy, and the name Simon R. Green came up. And so we've got Something from the Night Side by Simon R. Green, a novel of the Night Side. I believe this is book 1, novel of the Night Side. And I saw this at my Half Price Books, mass market paperback. It's really super short. I was like, why not? Let's give it a go. But Taylor is the name. John Taylor. My card says I'm a detective, but what I really am is an expert of finding lost things. It's part of the gift I was born as a child of the Night Side. And then I also found this series by Simon R. Green, and I love the James Bond movies, and he's got a series called The Secret Histories. All of the titles, at least, are plays on Ian Fleming James Bond novels, or at least some form of James Bond novel. And so we've got The Man with the Golden Torque, like Man with the Golden Gun. So we've got The Man with the Golden Torque, and then I think the book 2 is called Diamonds Are Forever. Diamonds Are Forever. And yeah, it just says, the name's Bond, Shaman Bond. And I was just like, yeah, okay, fine. That's hokey enough that I'll give it a whirl. All right, up next, because the illustrated editions have not yet caught up on A Song of Ice and Fire, I decided to get this gorgeous kind of original printing hardcover of Feast of Crows that I found at my local Half Price Books. It was Mylar covered. It's got a library sticker for who was the original owner. They put the sticker on the inside of the map. But, it's in fantastic condition otherwise. And, yeah, I figured, why not? If I'm going to continue reading and catching up with A Song of Ice and Fire, I know that the series isn't complete. I'm aware. But I was like, why not? I have no reason not to get A Feast for Crows. So I did. Speaking of Janny Wirtz, she had a collection of stories kind of bound into a book that is, I believe, currently out of print, but she had old new stock of these books. And that is That Way Lies Camelot. This is, of course, by Janny Wirtz. You're going to see a lot more Janny Wirtz in my book hauls for at least the next couple of months, hopefully. But it's funny that there's a small story tied to this. I was like, oh, thank you so much for this book. I don't know who Matthew is. She signed, and this happens to me all the time. I think it's because my last name, but I always get things signed to Matthew, and so we had a good ribbing session. And she was like, "Oh my God, do you want me to send you another one?" I was like, "No, absolutely not. There's now a story tied to this, and I absolutely love it. So thank you so much, Janie, for sending this to me. I love it." All right, and then I haven't even read the first book in this series, but I saw the hardcover and went, ooh, squirrel, and then realized, like, it's an overstock, and it's got, like, some sort of dotting on the top. Like, you can definitely tell that that's, like, yellowed, and it's got some sort of dot. I don't know what causes this on books, but it is what it is. But this is Streets of Loretto by Larry McMurtry. I don't know why I did this. I've got this in UK paperback on book 1, and now I've got a US hardcover for book 2. I think I'm just going to have to buy the first book in hardcover because that's the way my brain works. But yeah, we've got this one as well by it's the sequel to Lonesome Dove. Yeah, I don't know anything else about it other than it's a Western. I then went ooh squirrel and saw Kate Elliott. You can definitely tell I'm tired. And that is Cold Magic and Cold Steel. These are Orbit. And this is a Spirit Walker trilogy, book 1 and book 3, which means I've got to get book 2, provided that I like book 1. These were just at my local half-price books when I was in there shopping one day with the kids. And I had read King's Dragon forever ago, like when I first started my channel. It's like one of the first video discussions I did with Nico. Was about King's Dragon, and then I hadn't read a Kate Elliott book since, and I was like, you know what, like, I'd like to read more Kate Elliott. I should finish Crown of Stars, but I'd also like to read this one. And then I have a subscription through Goldsboro, their SSF, adult SSF subscription, and the month, I believe this was either January, it says December, but like I think it was supposed to be January, and that's The Witch and the Tsar. I believe this is a Baba Yaga retelling. Baba Yaga retelling is how I saw that. It says, Yaga lives deep in the Russian forest, tending to any that call upon her for her healing potions and vast wisdom. And I just love the sprayed edge is gorgeous. Got black on top, black on bottom, this nice kind of yellow ribbon, and then it's, got this gorgeous naked hardcover. Oh, it's on both sides. Sorry, that was my immediate reaction to that. And I believe this is signed and numbered as well. Yes, it is signed and numbered. So, I'm number 1,352. But I absolutely love this edition. And then again, I went back to half-price books. I've been going to half-price books a lot of the time to just drown my sorrows in ill-advised book purchases. And lately, like, I've been wanting to get back into Agatha Christie. And the one series that calls to me the most is the, I'm going to say this wrong, the Hercule Poirot. And so I got the In the Orient kind of collection. This is a bind-up of 3. I didn't know how many Hercule books there were. There's like 30 of them when I looked it up. Like, I was like, oh my goodness. So, yeah, this is Murder in Mesopotamia, Death on the Nile, and Appointment with Death. And what also kind of pushed me to this is Patricia Meredith was talking like Agatha Christie. Patricia Meredith is the author of the Spokane Clock Tower mysteries. And she did a live stream and an author interview. I believe that was on Tori or Kay's channel. I don't know. It was one of those two channels, both fantastic channels. You should definitely check them out. And Patricia's also got one as well, so you should check that one out as well. But she sold me on, like, Agatha Christie. They were talking about, like, Agatha Christie wasn't a period writer. She was writing in her time. We just see it as period now because we've moved forward. And I was like, I want to read Agatha Christie. It's been, like, 15 years since I read Agatha Christie. So I went and picked this one up. It was a very over-explained why I purchased a book. I don't know. Speaking of Janie Wirtz, again, I was at Half Price Books because that's what I do. And I saw Wars of Light and Shadow Volume 10, Destiny's Conflict. Guys, at this current moment, I don't have 1 through 9. But I've got I think I've got like 1 through 5 on the way. And so then I just got to pick up 6 through 9. So like 3, 6, 7, 8, 4 books. I got to pick up 4 books. I can't math. This is why I read. So I've got this now. Again, like I said, you're going to see a lot more Janie words here on the channel. One of my new favorite authors. Definitely want to make my way through her work. And then, again, on that same trip to Half Price Books, I picked up Berserk, the Deluxe Edition, Volume 1 through 3. This is number 1. There are 13 of these. And if I love this, I'm in trouble because these are pricey. But I will get them on the shelf. And I am planning at least a vlog of the first one. I know that there is a lot of Berserk content out there. I am aware. I know there's a lot of One Piece. There's a lot of Naruto and all sorts of stuff like that. I want to kind of give Berserk a try. It's supposed to be dark. It's supposed to be grim. But when people talk about it who love it, they're like, it's the best story ever told. And I'm like, that's ambitious because I've read a lot of fantastic stuff. So this has got a high bar to clear. But if I love it, I'm going to collect it all. And then finally, we've got 2 hardcover editions, special editions of a series that I already have. And this is H.C. Newell's Curse of the Fallen and the Forbidden Realms. And what's really cool about these is they're not just hardcover special editions. They are signed. And it's funny because HC did like a video on like Instagram showing like everything that went into like packing the boxes. But these have like they have like maps. These are signed and annotated. They've got these gorgeous formatting. They've got these like beautiful pieces of art. Let me show you this. They've got like nice little illustrations in the text. And if you can kind of see here, it's annotated with the author's thoughts on like what she was thinking and how this works in. And like these are annotated editions. And I am geeking out about it. Like, I haven't even read these books, and I've already claimed the spot as H.C. Newell's #1 fan. Haven't even read the books. I'm still a #1 fan. Because that is some next level stuff right there. I cannot wait to dig into those books. They are chef's kiss, so gorgeous. Guys, I feel like I've been talking for way too long. This is the February 2023 book haul. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And as always, guys, till next time, peace out, stay magical, bye. And as always, I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons.